you're all set.
Well, thank you. Okay, this is the meeting of the Templeton Conservation Mission. Today is Monday, October 21st, 2024, at 6:30 p.m. We are at Town Hall, 160 Patriots Road, East Templeton, Mass. 01438, Conference Room. Okay, number one, review of the minutes meeting from 9/16/24. Has everybody had a chance to read them? And
I make a motion, we approve the minutes.
I'll second the motion.
Any discussion? Seeing none, we have to take a roll call vote. How do you vote on that motion to approve the minutes, Christoph?
Yeah.
George,
yes,
David,
Yes.
Amanda,
Yes.
Joanne?
Yes.
Thank you.
okay. The meeting has been seconded and.
Thank you.
Okay,
Mr. Andrews, do you have those for me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay. Ready?
Yep, for number 2.
Number 2, this is a request of COC, number 3040336, 71 Otter River Road, single family home.
So a site visit occurred on September 24th with no issues. The wetlands were not altered or ruined in any way. This is a classic scenario of builder built house with order of conditions, sold house, and now the resident is selling the house and has to do the COC to get out of it.
This is the house we were visiting.
I just passed along pictures of the site visit that show the property and the wetlands.
And this is over there.
I'll make a motion that we issue the certificate of compliance.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
How do you vote, Christoph?
Aye.
George,
Yes,
Dave,
Yes.
Amanda,
Yes.
Joanne?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, you're gonna take that. George, hold on just 1 second. We're
Yeah.
gonna pass down the Form 8B.
send me down some paperwork.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, yep, photos. Amanda, obviously you'll need to come in and sign at your convenience.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you. Good. All right, Mr. Andrews, number 3.
Number 3 is NOI number 3040392, continued from last month. It's 1200 Patriots Road. And for the construction of a new storage building and associated parking within the 100-foot wetland buffer zone.
Can I get a motion to reopen this public hearing?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in
I'll take
favor?
I'll take Dave.
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah, roll call vote. How do you vote, Christoph, of reopening the public
Aye.
hearing? George,
Okay.
Dave,
Yes.
Amanda,
Aye.
Joanne?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
We are reopened. Do we have anybody here to represent the proposed U-Haul? Okay. Well, a site visit did occur on October 16th with some commission members
And
represented for the project, right?
Mary Ann DePinto
Yep,
also was there, and then Dan, I can't remember his last name, from the applicants. Their wetland consultant.
Glenn.
Okay, he's from Phillipston.
Yep, he was
Very
their wetland
nice.
consultant.
And then the abutters also had a consultant do you remember his name?
His name was Glenn. Sorry, I got them confused. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
He was also present.
okay.
So what we found is, that the delineation wasn't totally accurate. It was very close. But some flags had to be moved. We walked it extensively, especially Dave did here. So wetland flags were, put into place by, Marianne DePinto. There was also a question on infiltration basin number 5.
Yeah.
Right.
And that it was too close to the wetlands. It's supposed to be 50 feet away. It was only 30.
Yep.
So they need to come in with their revised updated plans
Okay,
for our site inspection.
okay. I have not seen anything come forth with any.
Well, that was
updates.
just last week, so.
Right, so
Yeah,
Give them some time.
so,
Yeah.
Okay.
with that being said, I think that, we should continue it again.
Anything else? Thank you, Joanne, for that really good update.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
appreciate it. Dave and George, anything else from that site visit to update everybody on?
No, everything seemed to be pretty good. There was, nothing yet, was,
We did move a couple of flags. so-
Okay. This was after, right? Because they gave us a delineation and then we went back out after Mary Ann did her thing and moved some of them and we had to
Right.
move some more.
Right.
Mhm.
that's the original, those were the originals we had to move from,
Gotcha.
from the, what was she from, New Hampshire or Maine? Whoever originally flagged it out there.
So I'll make a motion that we continue NOI 3040392.
To November's meeting.
Yep.
Do I have a second?
Second,
Any discussion? Hearing none, we have to take a roll call vote on a motion to continue this topic to November's meeting. How do you vote, Christoph? George,
Yes,
Dave,
Yes.
Amanda,
Yes,
Joanne?
yes.
All right, so that is moved, and when I get any type of information, I will pass it along to all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, did you have a question?
Is that topic closed?
The topic's not closed, it's just continued to the next meeting.
Okay.
Do you have anything else you wanna,
I just wanted, because, our,
can you state your name, sorry?
say yes, Terry Levely, 11 Brandon Drive.
Okay.
And you mentioned Marion DePinto and Glenn Kravosky, who's our consultant, and walked on the site with Mary Ann. And Joanne, I think you just said it was a really close delineation, and when we spoke to him, he said it's not. He said it's way off.
Well,
So I'm a little confused.
he assisted us while we were out there. And the discrepancies in the flags that he saw, we did some hydric soil testing. And one of them came up that it was flagged correctly. The soils were upland soils. So, we really did do an extensive workup. And he seemed, when he left at the time, that the flags that we did move, because there was apparent wetland vegetation indicating a BVW, those flags were moved, and he was there and actually kind of assisted, and any questions he had, we addressed. So have you talked to him?
Yes, that's what I was saying, and he said it wasn't a close delineation, it was way off, so that's why I was bringing it up.
Well, that's
He said
not
it was
really
good.
what he said to us in the field,
no, he didn't.
when we were in the field. I
He said
mean,
it was
Did 4 drillings.
right, and we did hydric soil testing, and he seemed to be,
Like a list or any information from that site visit that you're going to be getting a new delineation, what is that going to look like? What should it look
right,
like
and
based on-
Mary Ann DePinto should be sending us her comments in the changes that she made, so we're still waiting for that information. So that's the wetland consultant for the Conservation Commission. We just did this last week, so nobody's had time to submit their changes, inputs.
And we have,
Okay, and you guys will keep in touch with Glenn with any developments or any.
Oh,
progress?
certainly, he can be privy to everything, sure, of course. Mhm,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Any other questions or comments about that topic before we move on?
I'm good, thank you.
All right, that's number 3. We're gonna go on to number 4 right now, which
Number
Mr.
4.
Andrews, will you do that?
All right, number 4. We have no number for it yet, no file number for the NOI over there at Patriots Road 207-20.8 for the construction of a driveway crossing a wetland and installation of a septic system within the buffer zone. And whereas the person who,
Can I get a motion to reopen this public hearing?
So moved.
I think it's.
Second.
Any discussion on reopening the public hearing? Hearing none, we have a roll call vote. How do you vote, Christoph?
Aye.
George?
yes,
Dave?
Yes.
Amanda?
Yes.
Good, we are reopened. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Mr. Andrews. I had to get that.
So if we don't have an NOI number, we'll just continue
So,
this?
yeah, we can continue
I,
it.
so the applicant received, comments from Mass DEP, but no file number. And the representative for the applicant who was at the last meeting, said that he has Haley Ward, tuning up the NOI for Mass DEP and asked or requested that the Concom meeting, if they could continue it to November, the topic to November's meeting, please.
Yes,
Okay, so I make a motion that we continue this Patriots Road 207-20.8
yep,
Wonderful.
to
Can I get a
the
second?
November meeting.
no second.
Any discussion on moving the topic to November? Hearing none, we have to take a roll call vote. How do you vote, Christoph? George?
Yes,
Dave?
Yeah.
Amanda?
Yes.
Joanne?
Yes.
Were there any resident questions about Patriots Road -207-20.8? Machete? No? Very good.
You said there was DEP comments on that.
Yeah.
I'd like to read those. You don't have to.
Do you want me to read it?
Yeah, maybe it would be
Oh.
good to read the DEP. comments.
Joanne just asked what the DEP comments were. They said, Dear Mr. Machete, Mass DEP has received the notice of intent for Patriots Road in Templeton and is completing their review. The project description indicates that the proposed driveway will impact wetlands. Please send me the delineation report as well as the replication plan. The Massachusetts Handbook for the Delineation of Bordering Vegetated Wetlands recommends the use of the Bordering Vegetated Wetland Determination Form to document the presence and/or absence of wetlands and delineate wetland boundaries. The description also indicates that a septic system and single-family home will be constructed in the buffer zone. However, the site plan provided only shows the proposed driveway. Please send me a revised plan of a single-family home and septic system if they will be constructed in the buffer zone as described in your description. The WPA Form 3 provided indicates there is a new stream crossing proposed. Please provide additional information on compliance with the Massachusetts stream crossing standards.
Very good, thank you.
So, he got those comments, he submitted it back to his engineer to get better plans, and that's why he asked for the continuance.
Okay, great.
Very good. All right, Mr. Andrews, you're up. Number 5.
number 5, NOI file, which is pending, for South Road 3-1139.5 with the construction of a driveway to service a proposed new single-family home by crossing a wetland and replicating it.
Can I get a motion to open this public hearing?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion on opening the public hearing? Hearing none. How do you vote, Christoph?
Aye.
George?
Aye.
Dave?
Yes.
Amanda?
Yes.
Joanne?
Yes.
6. Okay. To start, I have to read the legal notice. South Road 3-1139.5, notice of intent. Notice is hereby given in accordance with the Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, that a public hearing will be held on a notice of intent filed by Greg Roy of Dillison Roy Civil Design Group on behalf of Paul Seeley of Ayer. Project location is South Road, Templeton, map 3-11, parcel 39.5. Description of project is the construction of a driveway crossing a wetland to access a proposed single-family home. A wetlands replication area will be constructed to mitigate the impacts to the existing wetland area. The proposed alteration is set to impact inland resource areas. The hearing will be held on October 21st, 2024 at 6:30 PM at Templeton Town Hall. Any person wishing to be heard concerning the above application should appear at the time and place indicated above. The notice of intent is available for public review at the Development Services Office, Room 3, 160 Patriots Road during regular office hours. The NOI is also available upon request from J. Case at templetonma.gov, George Andrews Chair, Templeton Conservation Commission. As of right now, we have not had a site visit or a file number. However, we do have Greg Roy from Dillison Roy present to represent the application. If you want to kind of give like a
Yeah.
an intro, and
brief.
if we have any questions,
yeah.
we can go from there.
Nope, thank you. I
welcome.
appreciate it,
You're
Mr.
welcome.
Chair, members of the commission. My name is Greg Roy with Dillison Roy, and I am representing the applicant this evening. As Jessica just said, I realize we don't have a file number and you folks haven't had a chance to go out to the site yet. So I'll be brief, anticipating that you're going to want to continue this like you did the previous two meetings. But just as an overall summary, we were retained by the client to do the surveying and field work necessary to develop a single-family house on the property. This is a situation where you have a upland piece of usable upland piece of the property, which is completely cut off by a wetland system that runs more or less parallel with South Road. So there's no other alternative on the site to access that upland portion but to do a wetlands crossing. The plan that you have in front of you documents the proposed location of the driveway, the proposed or the existing locations relative to the existing locations of the wetlands. We're proposing a 3,850 square foot wetland fill, which of course is less than the statutory 5,000 square foot maximum within the Wetlands Protection Act. And then to mitigate the loss of wetlands, we are proposing a wetlands replication area on the far side, adjacent to the to where the proposed house and septic system will go. The proposed replication area is proposed at 7,400 square feet. So we're providing an excess of 1.5 to 1 ratio on the replication, just to ensure that we have good success rate over time. That replication area was designed in accordance with the Massachusetts Wetlands Replication Guidelines. Sorry, it's a tongue twister. There's some additional specifications on the planting and all the specifications for inspection requirements on the second sheet, which kind of has more of a detailed view of just the wetlands replication area. Again, I understand you folks haven't maybe dove in on this. You might have more questions when you go out to the site. But I just wanted to give you that overview so you had an idea of what we're proposing. We have staked the center line of the driveway on site in preparation for our site walk, which I think is scheduled for Wednesday morning at some time. So we're looking forward to meeting as many of you as possible out on the site, and I will leave it at that, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Okay. Any questions from anybody on the board?
I have a question. I'm a butter to this, so I know the land a little bit.
Yeah.
Does this driveway go up where the old cart road went up to that site, or is it further over towards the center of the lot?
I think it shifted slightly, and that the only reason for that is because we felt that it was the most direct shot across the wetlands. It would result in the least amount of wetlands delineation, disturbance. Excuse me.
So this is if I'm
So slightly shifted to the
I'm
I
facing to
think.
the south,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So if you had gone further towards the north, isn't it drier up there?
We don't think so. I mean, it's pretty, there's not a lot of, it's a fairly narrow, throat that goes in there, so we didn't see a good spot that would be.
This is kind of
better.
where you guys brought an excavator in to do, or something?
Yeah, it's a little bit south of that because we think that the permanent crossing, again, would result in less permanent alteration of the wetlands if we shifted it a little bit south. But it's certainly something we can talk about in the field. If we're out there in the field, we see
Yeah.
the stakes and we think, hey, why don't we do it over
Yeah.
here? You
Yeah.
know, we can certainly look at that.
Okay.
Mhm.
No, not at this time until we sidewalk.
Not before the sidewalk, okay.
Mhm.
We definitely, there's some neighbors out
No
there that
question.
maybe wanna,
Okay.
George.
Huh?
Maybe some folks in the audience.
Well, I was gonna ask them a minute.
Yeah.
Anybody in the audience?
Yep.
Yes.
Can you
I,
state your
Megan-
name and address?
All right, Megan Murray, 161 South Road.
Thank you.
Just wondering if you guys are aware that, you know, in FAA land and there are restrictions on the height of buildings? I didn't know if that was addressed yet.
You mean with the planes try to hide, not get by that building?
That's a great, thank you for that. I knew it abutted it, but it may not be the necessarily the purview of the Conservation Commission, but I do
Right,
appreciate it.
exactly.
I do appreciate that.
I don't hear.
In a former life, I actually was a consultant. I worked for Raytheon and I did airport consultant, so the building height brought me back. Oh, thank you. Yeah,
Didn't know if that was addressed.
yeah, thank you.
I also have a question.
Mr. Andrews, there's another question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's
Yeah.
okay.
Gwen Young, 2
Yeah.
Dillberry Hill Road.
Yeah.
And I'm also questioning as to if the car road is to the left, why they are moving to the right to put in the driveway across the wetlands when the cart road has been there as long as I can remember.
How much road frontage is it? Greg, how much road frontage is it? Might help answer her question. Might not know.
About 150 feet.
Gotta be
So-
at least 150 feet, right?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it looks to me like it's 150. I don't have it listed on the plan, but I think it's 150. So I believe that the car path, if you're looking on the plan, I believe the car path goes somewhere right around where our wetland flag A3 is, where there's kind of like a triangle that juts in. If you can kind of see that, just if you're imagine yourself standing on South Road at the proposed driveway, it would be just to the left of where we're proposing the driveway. So I mean, those are great questions. If we're out in the site and we feel like it's a better spot to do this, we'll certainly take the lead of the commission. We try to look at the wetland crossing as a whole and go through in the shortest possible point. So that even if it's a newer crossing, sometimes it doesn't make the most sense based on how the geometry lays in. But by all means, when we're out on site, I think that's something we could certainly take a look at.
Are these wetlands still or are they moving water?
There's some flow that comes through, right about where we have the proposed culverts.
Okay.
So there is some flow in there. We don't think it's a stream. There's not a stream mapped.
But it
But-
was flowing?
Yeah, there's
Okay.
some flow through there.
The swale type.
Yeah, I don't know if flow is the good word. Standing water for sure. There's definitely standing
Well,
water.
Mass DEP recently, said Massachusetts is in a level, 1 drought right now. So
Yeah.
like you can't, I know this isn't NOI, but they said anything that is, like stagnant, stable, I don't know, give me a better word.
Mhm.
Like you can't categorize that, if it usually is flowing. Because
You mean
the
like
conditions-
stream?
Like, yeah,
like
like
doing stream-
ANRADs, RDAs.
Yeah,
all
or
that stuff.
doing like refuting a perennial stream or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't need to do that here because it's not
Okay.
mapped as intermittent or perennial, so
Okay.
it's not
Okay,
it doesn't have.
but there are some culverts proposed.
Yeah, so in addition to, I meant to say that in my initial, there's sort of several things that we look at when we do a wetlands replication. One is to meet the standard of wetland restoration, to make sure that there's no net loss of wetlands after the project is done, to meet that performance standard. But the other thing that's almost as important, if not more important, is making sure that we maintain the hydrology that exists across that area once the driveway's in. So we are proposing in the low point where the low point of the wetlands where we're crossing, we are proposing a double-barreled culvert there just to make sure that we maintain that hydrology, and there won't be any impact either up or downstream of the proposed crossing from a hydraulic standpoint. But there isn't there is not an intermittent stream channel or a perennial stream or an associated riverfront associated with it,
Thank you.
or floodplain.
Okay.
So it's just a board and vegetated wetland. in this
Okay.
case.
Okay, one more question over here?
Yes, Bob Marama, 192 South Road. Just a couple questions, just kind of a little concerned about the wetlands, because this whole proposal is basically surrounding my property. So I was kind of curious is how many feet back from my property line is the wetlands proposed that they were gonna put in the back?
And you said you're at what address, sir?
92?
Okay, so you're this property right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're approximately, with the current location, we're approximately 30 to 40 feet, depends on where you are, away from your property line.
That's where the wetlands replication is going?
Well, no, that's where the driveway's going. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, no, on the left-hand side. No,
Yeah,
I
right.
get that.
Oh, so you asked about the what?
In the back where I see,
Yes.
like
Thank
right
you.
here,
Right
in the
here,
green
yes.
area right there.
Yep. So-
My concern is, like, right here in my backyard
Mhm.
is all wet.
Right.
So I'm very concerned that if you add more replication of wetland too close, is that gonna impede my wetland and then move that, towards my
No, I understood.
structure?
So we can't do that. So the standard would prohibit us from doing that. Essentially what this is we're gonna be taking the slope on the outside of that wetland and just lowering it. So we'll be essentially expanding the capacity, if you will, of that area, dropping that down so that the hydrology becomes a wetland. So you're actually gonna it's not gonna have any impact on the downstream area. If anything, it's gonna collect and sort of absorb more of that water that's coming off the slope before it gets to the wetland that exists today. So we're basically gonna be taking that wetland boundary, expanding it towards our client's house, not anything to do with your property.
Okay, but even on the other side,
Yeah. We wouldn't be touching. we wouldn't be
I'm not
touching
gonna
it.
say it's a like a running stream through there, but I've been there for 5 years and there is running
Close,
water on the
yeah.
left-hand side. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
You can see it basically bordering your client's property and my property.
Yeah.
And you can see it when you do the site where
Yeah.
it's eroded, where there was definitely running water there.
Okay, yep.
And in the back of my yard, I have a lot of freestanding water, so I'm very concerned about that.
Yeah.
So I guess my next question was the mitigation of the runoff from the driveway and from the dwelling itself. How is that gonna impact my property? I mean, do you do anything to mitigate that runoff?
That's a good question. We are not required by the regulations on a single family lot to do formal stormwater management. However, we can certainly provide you an analysis of that. I'm not prepared to talk about that this evening, but.
I get it. It's all preliminary now.
I appreciate that. No, thank
I
you.
just want to get my,
Yeah.
I'm more concerned than anything else, because, I don't have water in my basement now and I don't
Yeah,
want to.
understood. Yeah, understood.
That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, understood.
So, and I did notice where you flagged off the driveway, that was like a little more towards the right. I think
Yep.
originally when I was looking at the plans, they were saying it was gonna be 70 feet over. It doesn't look like it's quite 70 feet. now.
Yeah, we start about midpoint in the lot and then we kind of skew over. And again, that's just due to the geometry of how the wetland lines are and trying to get across that in the shortest possible line. But when we go out there, if there's a spot, like I said, if there's a spot on site that we say, hey, this looks better, then we can take a look at that. We're not married to that. We just need to get, we need to get from point A to point B for lack of a better word. And if the commission feels that there's a better spot to do that, we're happy to review that. But I appreciate your comment about the drainage. I'll be prepared for that. I'll give you some additional information on that next meeting.
Anybody else? You all set?
Yes, thank you very much.
No
Good
problem.
questions.
Yeah. I was gonna say for any like abutters who want to see the plans, you can come to room 3 in town hall during normal operating hours. And I can show you the NOI and the plans, the public record. You're welcome to look at them.
Thank you.
Can I take a picture of this, Sarah?
Oh, you You can have it.
Oh, yeah, okay. Thank you.
They came prepared.
That's good.
I don't want to take your, thank you. I appreciate it.
So I guess one more quick question. What size house are they proposing to put on there?
Well, truthfully, the house box is outside of the buffer and the septic system, so it's hard for you to see it where you're sitting, but there's an orange line right here on the plan.
Mhm.
And that represents the limit of the 100-foot buffer zone. All that works outside the buffer. I think we're showing a 30 by, 70 or 80-foot house box there, but it's just generic. There hasn't been any architectural plans that have been
Okay.
provided to me at this point. So I would expect that, once they go to build, you're not gonna have probably an exact rectangular box there. The architect will do something, so it's more of a placeholder, but something in that size.
Okay.
But single family,
6-bedroom,
we have proposed, that's a great question.
looks like a 6-bedroom septic.
Well, the perk tests weren't fast, so there's pretty slow perks, so I'm not sure if it's 6 or not. I don't think we did a 6-bedroom. But I can't remember. I don't have the septic plan with me. So there's another whole plan that we did that that will be presented to the Board of Health that has all that information in it. But I can get that. Yeah, I'll be prepared to answer that for you.
One more thing back
Sure.
here. And I don't know who's aware of this or not, but the FAA also has a right of way from South Road up through that property to get to the backside
Yep.
of the VOR. Just so, I don't know who knows this or not, sir. I'm just
Looks like,
trying to
looks like Greg's writing it down.
share.
I am.
information.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the one right by Young's plot place.
No, this is Young right here, sir.
Huh?
This is Young right here.
Oh, I'm
This
sorry.
is off South Road.
It's off
They
South Road.
also
South, okay,
have one up,
okay.
just so that everyone's aware.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's good to know.
Appreciate that.
I didn't know that.
So
Like
that's
more homes?
different, that's
Great.
different than the access that comes up on
Correct.
Dobry Hill Road.
Correct.
There's a legal access from South Road through that field.
Through that property, and I don't even know who it belongs to, that comes up on the bottom of my property. That goes up to the tower.
Similar to the one that comes up on Hubbardston Road? Is there one on Hubbardston Road up? too?
No,
No, okay.
no, just the other one from South Road, but I didn't know who was aware of that again.
Okay. No, thank you for that. Appreciate it.
All right, so all we can really do here is continue this, right?
Right.
Yes, sir.
So if you would accept a motion, Mr. Chair, to continue it, then I would propose that we
Yeah.
continue this
Yes.
until the next meeting.
If there's no more questions from anybody? Okay, yeah, sure, go right ahead.
Yeah, it's so moved.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we need a roll call vote on moving this topic to the November meeting. How do you vote, Christoph? George?
Yes.
Dave? Amanda?
Yes.
Joanne?
Yes.
Then can I get all that paperwork? back?
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Okay, that's part of this paperwork. Yep. Give her all the paperwork.
Thank you.
You are hanging on.
Yeah, you're not done with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, bud.
Much to your chagrin.
But hold on, give me a second. I've got files and
No problem.
things.
I'm not going anywhere else yet.
All right. Good. All right, Mr. Andrews, would you like to read number 6?
Number 6. Again, we have no file number for an NOI at 50 Field Drive for the removal of an existing deck and construction of an addition to an existing single-family dwelling within the buffer zone of a wetland known as Partridgeville Road.
Can I get a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
I'm gonna take that as a first and a second by Joanne and Christoph.
That worked.
Any discussion to open the public hearing? Hearing none, I'm gonna take a roll call vote. How do you vote, Christoph?
Aye.
George?
Aye.
Dave?
Yes.
Amanda?
Yes.
Joanne?
Yes.
Very good. I will read the legal notice. 50 Shore Drive Notice of Intent. Notice is hereby given in accordance with the Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, that a public hearing will be held on a notice of intent filed by Greg Roy of Dillison Roy Civil Design Group, Inc., on behalf of Leon and Ann Aronian of Templeton. Project location is 50 Shore Drive, Templeton. Map 4-11, parcels 11 and 12. Description of project is the removal of an existing deck and the construction of an addition to an existing single-family dwelling within the buffer zone of a wetland known as Partridgeville Pond. The hearing will be held on October 21st, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. at Templeton Town Hall. Any person wishing to be heard concerning the above application should appear at the time and place indicated above. The notice of intent is available for public review at the Development Services Office, Room 3, 160 Patriots Road during regular office hours. The NOI is also available upon request from Jay Case at templetonma.gov, George Andrews Chair, Templeton Conservation Commission. Again, no site visit has occurred yet, and no file number has been assigned, but we have Greg Roy from Dillison Roy here to present the application.
Is he here again?
He is here again. Greg, you want to do the same thing?
You're stuck with me. Better.
The intro summary?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Again, Greg Roy, for the record, Greg Roy, Dillison Roy, representing the applicant, the Aronian family at 50 Shore Drive, which is on Partridgeville Pond. And the property is a relatively small piece of land, about 0.16 acres, I think, in size. There's an existing single-family dwelling on the lot and also a detached garage. And the applicant is proposing to construct an addition to the existing dwelling, which would be in between the existing dwelling and the attached garage. So on the side of the house, if you will, if you're facing if you're standing on the pond, looking at the back side of the house or the front, as you, if you will, it'd be to the right.
This area.
Yeah. Okay.
And so there's an existing deck. We tried to, I don't know if you have a colored plan or not, but we tried to put the existing outline in red.
Yeah, they have
Yeah,
red.
we have
Yeah, you gotta
Okay.
do it in
Yeah.
red.
Okay, yep. So there's actually two decks that'll be removed. One is closer to the pond and we cross-hatched it. So that would be removed and not replaced. And then the one adjacent to the driveway is the existing deck, which would be removed and replaced with the existing, with the proposed building addition with a couple of deck landings. One landing would go out towards the water and the other landing would go out with a walkway out to the driveway in the front of the house.
Can I interrupt you for one quick
You sure
second?
can.
Amanda, this is 50 Shore Drive. It's the one that has the,
Yeah, the
Is it-
dumpster.
it has a dumpster in front of it, right? And it's got can you picture it now? Right?
Yeah,
So-
I'm just wondering how far away the deck removal is from the shoreline.
So yeah, this
Deck
red piece, Greg.
removal. Yep. I should have brought a scale. This is silly. About 50 feet. Just about 50 feet. So if you see there's an orange line up by the in between the house and the and Shore Drive that runs more or less parallel. That's the 100-foot buffer zone.
Yep.
And so
Why is that deck going to be removed and not replaced? What is that little deck?
I am not sure. I think, did we submit the
Well, you would
building
think
plans?
it's like an
Did we s-
access to
did we
a.
Submit the building plans with it, I think. We just went off the building
Oh,
plans.
yeah.
I'm not sure why they're proposing to do that. I wasn't involved in the development of those plans, but they handed those plans to me and said, I think we got to go to Conservation Commission, so please.
This one right
Please
here.
Well,
take care.
is our decks one of those ones that's on the exemption list? I'm sorry that I don't have that
It's
list in front of me.
It says remove existing door and install a new window to match existing window. So that's where that deck is gonna be. So it
Yeah.
must have been it looks like deck with stairs to go to a door and they want to make it into a window.
Yeah, just, I guess they don't need it. I'm not sure.
That's actually less stuff near the wetland.
Yeah, exactly. That's right.
So, yeah, Amanda, so the removing of that little access deck, you know, is helpful. But the addition, which obviously requires a foundation, is within the 100,
That's true. Yeah,
right?
that is true.
So you just included it on the plans because it's.
We did,
alteration.
because it's work. And we have closed off the entire area between the existing house and the existing garage with an erosion control barrier so that, we're protecting the pond from any erosion that would happen during the construction of the footings in particular, or the foundations, if you will.
Do you have on hand the size of the addition?
Boy.
Sorry, I'm killing you, Greg.
Yeah,
No,
it just shows it it's 16 by 16.
Yeah, okay, the main addition 16 by, thank you.
Okay.
16 by
About
16,
by
then you have some,
16 with a little stoop coming off.
yeah, then you have a couple of decks, yeah. which
Bigger
are-
than Amanda, 16 by 16 for the addition.
And again,
Yep, I can see it on the plans.
I know that as you mentioned, there's no file number here. You haven't done a site walk, so we're kind of in the same drills before, but I wanted to give you a quick overview, so.
I think it looks good.
So I did go,
Continue.
visit this
Oh, okay.
before the plans were submitted. I went with the health agent. I went with the building
Oh,
inspector.
okay, good.
This also has to go to Board of Health as well.
Okay,
You're aware.
no one told me that, nope.
So,
I've asked-
it has a maximum reach of, the septics or the tight tank that's there.
Okay,
And so this would be, an addition of a bedroom.
okay. No.
So,
That's not us, though, right?
it's
Yeah.
not, but,
Yeah.
it's
thank you.
it's all required
Yeah.
for, approval, conservation, Board of Health and,
Yeah.
Okay.
and building.
But for our purposes,
Um,
I
and,
think I'll
and just,
make a
so-
motion that we continue.
and just so you know, it's, this couple wants, one level living. Their bedroom's upstairs right
Yeah.
now, and the purpose of it is to get their bedroom on the first floor.
Makes sense.
But they may have to discontinue a bedroom
Yeah, okay.
to get this bedroom.
Yeah, it's funny, yeah, I deal with so many clients, I can't say for certain, but I could have sworn I asked my client, I'm actually working through the general contractor on this one.
Yep.
About that issue, and I
Brothers.
thought he told me that was
Yeah.
that was a non-issue, but if it is, it is. So, appreciate the heads up.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion that we continue the public hearing.
Seconded.
For that. Thank you.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll take a roll call vote to move this topic to November. Christoph? George?
Yes.
Dave?
Yeah.
Amanda?
Yes.
Joanne?
Yes.
I feel like I'm selling popcorn.
That sounds good.
All right, I need all the paperwork back, please.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you, darling. Greg, it sounds like we'll see you next month.
Yeah, yeah. When is the hearing? It's the 20.
It's November 18th.
Okay, I'm back that day. Going
November.
to Spain a week before that.
Yeah, but,
Boy.
yeah, but aren't you at 280, State Road?
I am, yes.
Well, how did you get out again?
I'll stay.
No, no. Here, 2 NOIs. 2 stormwater reports. Yep, and then 2 plans.
Oh, okay, this is State Road, okay.
All right, so let's continue to do the process that we've been doing. So, Mr. Andrews, could you please read number 7?
Yes, I would do that.
Okay,
We are at number 6, number
7.
7.
Yep.
We have no file number yet on that one either. And, this is a new NOI. So, okay, 280 State Road for the construction of a commercial building for an auto repair shop, paved parking area. The application is the response of the enforcement order certified by the commission by proposing removal of approximately 1,830 square feet of pavement in the submission of a new stormwater management and landscape plan.
Can I get a motion to open the public hearing? Can I get a second? Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote. How do you vote? Christoph? George?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Amanda?
Yes.
Joanne?
Yes.
I will read the legal notice. 280 State Road, notice of intent. Notice is hereby given in accordance with the Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, that a public hearing will be held on a notice of intent filed by Greg Roy of Dillison Roy Civil Design Group, Inc. on behalf of Ronald LaGrave of Templeton. Project location is 280 State Road, Templeton, map 1, parcel 3-22. Description of project is the construction of a commercial building for an auto repair shop and paved parking area. The application is a response to the enforcement order certified by the commission by proposing the removal of approximately 1,830 square feet of pavement and the submission of a new stormwater management and landscape plan. The hearing will be held on October 21st, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. at Templeton Town Hall. Any person wishing to be heard concerning the above application should appear at the time and place indicated above. The notice of intent is available for public review at the Development Services Office, Room 3, 160 Patriots Road during regular office hours. The NOI is also available upon request from J. Case at templetonma.gov, George Andrews Chair, Templeton Conservation Commission. And with us this evening, we have Greg Roy of Dillison Roy here to present or introduce what's going on.
Thank you. Again, for the record, Greg Roy, Dillison Roy. I'm representing the applicant, who is here. Katie is here this evening. Katie LaGrave is here with us as well. So a little bit more history on this one. We filed applications with the Zoning Board of Appeals, your commission, as well as the Planning Board back in 2022, I think, somewhere around there.
Correct.
For the construction of a new garage shop building and associated pavement. At that time, we were granted those approvals. The Zoning Board of Appeals granted us a small dimensional variation to the property line on the easterly side. Your commission, of course, and I'll get to that in a second, granted a order of conditions for the work, and I'll expound on that a little bit more. And then we also received a site plan approval from the planning board for the work. Since it is a commercial property, it did require site plan approval. Fast forward to this past summer, the applicant ended up paving more on the site than what was allowed by all of those approvals. So the building that was proposed was constructed exactly in the dimensions that was approved and in the locations that was approved. So the 40 by 50 foot structure that you see on the plans before you is exactly where it was proposed. The existing structure that was located on the corner of the property, if you can remember, there was a rather, I'll call it rundown structure there. Eclectic, with the garage that.
Talk about Helen's house.
little needed a little bit of love. Ended up taking that down as we had proposed. We're not going to make any excuses for it. We're here to tell you that there was just more pavement put down than was approved. Your commission issued, well, I back up. The applicant went to ask the town building commissioner for a certificate of occupancy, which he did not sign because of the additional pavement and the non-compliance with the various approvals, one of which was your board. Your commission, of course, as you read, has issued an enforcement order on the property, and we've been working with the town. The applicant actually, more to get in front of get to the table. They appealed the lack of action on the certificate of occupancy that the building commissioner, his failure essentially to sign that. They appealed that to the Zoning Board of Appeals. That application or that appeal process is actually still pending, allowing us time to get through your commission and also through the planning board once we.
I think that that appeal was the lack of the building commissioners.
I might be saying it wrong, but
It wasn't
didn't
his lack
sign
of
the-
action. He issued a letter that said that the site plan was
Yeah.
not followed, and then the appeal was that he didn't make the right determination that the plan was followed.
Yeah, so they appealed his action or inaction or determination, right? So I may be saying that wrong, but I don't want to
Oh, I
come
just
across
think-
like, no, and I don't want to come across like I'm insulting
and
anybody.
I
I
didn't-
think he correctly, we're acknowledging, I think the building commissioner correctly acted.
Yeah. he
We just had
he
no other.
Responded in
Yeah.
the correct
Yeah,
time frame.
right.
I didn't-
Yeah, he did. And I'm not trying to say he didn't. I'm just trying to give you the history so that you all understand.
Suggested path forward through conservation.
Yeah, so now let me summarize where we're at today. So well, actually, one quick history. When we came before you before, the project is not exempt from the provisions of the Massachusetts Stormwater Management Policy. So when we came before you with the initial filing, we presented, along with the notice of intent, a stormwater report documenting compliance with the 10 standards of the Massachusetts Stormwater Management, because it's a commercial use and it's not exempt. So we have to comply with Massachusetts Stormwater Management. The same is true today. So what we are proposing to you essentially is to try to strike a compromise between what you initially approved, which was a limited chunk of pavement essentially out from the garage as it is today, directly out to Crotty Avenue. We're asking for your commission to review the new notice of intent that we've submitted, which includes that some of that paved area, but also some additional paved area on the state road side of the property. So what we've done was to reanalyze the stormwater and look at the compliance relative to the 10 standards as if none of the work had been done. So we're not trying to double dip. We're not trying to look at the pavement that's there now because it's not in compliance. We have compared this pavement that you have proposed with the new configuration on this plan with the pre-existing condition that existed before any of the work was done. So what we're asking you to do is to review this project. We understand it's an after the fact filing. We can't do anything about that, but we're asking you to review it as if it was a new filing relative to the compliance with the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act and the associated standards pertaining to that. So I think that you're going to find as you review it, and again, I know that you want to come out to the site. I know that you haven't done a site walk here either, and we don't have a DEP file number. But I think you're going to find that we're essentially proposing the same project from the building line like this back towards the wetland. So we're proposing to keep the building is in the exact same location that was permitted. Essentially, the pavement that we're proposing to keep in the front here on the Crotty Avenue side is essentially exactly as you had approved it before. The stormwater management that we're proposing is exactly as you approved it before. Really, the difference that we're looking to get approval on is keeping some of the pavement on the state road side, which is on the opposite side of the project from the wetland area.
Is that the pavement that was overpaved?
Some of that is the pavement that's overpaved. We would actually be removing some of the pavement. So this,
Kind of splitting the baby.
that's right.
Saying we'll remove half of what we put down, but not all of it.
Yeah, we took a look.
And we have the math to back it up.
That's right. We took a look,
Okay.
we reanalyzed the entire stormwater report.
Yeah.
And we took a look at how much do we think, if we were just doing this from scratch,
No, I get it.
and our task was to maximize the amount of pavement out there, what do you think we could do? And that was essentially the exercise. That's right. So the red hatched areas would be the ones coming out.
Okay.
I would like to call a point of order. I'm pretty sure that you cannot file an NOI after you've been given a WPA Form 9 enforcement order. The only way to get rid of the enforcement order is to comply with the last part of it, whatever we checked, which I believe was restoring it to the original plans.
And I'd like to, I had the same question, Amanda. How can you issue a new order of conditions when there's already an existing order of conditions? You can't have an order of conditions for the original file number and then file a new NOI and have another order of conditions on top of an existing one that has not been satisfied. has an enforcement order on it. It just, to me, legality wise, it makes no sense. Something's got to happen with that first filing and the order issued by this position in good faith with the plans.
Mhm.
And as you said, just want to, tell Amanda, I was going to ask the same questions. I just don't, I'm not sure, if this can even happen.
Well, I mean, I think I don't think you're precluded from filing, having two separate orders with conditions. You would just close out the old one. You would essentially issue.
But we,
How can
but
we
couldn't
haven't,
close out the first one. So if I may, I did call Mass DEP regarding this to make sure that we could hear it. And they said, because it is a complete application and they paid for it, we are required to open the hearing. That is all we are required to do.
I would like to make a motion to reject this application because we already have one that is active, that is does not have a COC, and in fact has a emergency order, enforcement order. That's the word I was looking for.
Because, do I have a second on that?
I'll second.
Before,
And now discussion for some.
yeah, I have discussion.
Yeah.
Thank you, Amanda. Can we vote on this since we don't have the new NOI?
Yes. So I did call Mass DEP
And
and
so isn't this really all we're doing is continuing it? And then to your point, Amanda, if this is sort of out of procedural order, then can we put the onus back on Mr. Roy to come back
Well,
after the
Well,
continuance?
what can
Or you
happen,
can-
I suppose, once we have the DEP number. So, and you bring up a valid point. I mean, can we do anything with it but continue it because we have no number?
no. So
Every
I
other
did
one
call
we
Mass DEP and
continue,
they said you
and we
could
have
make
to
a
continue
determination
with the
without a file number. You're also welcome to wait for their additional comments. But their additional comments are gonna be that there's an enforcement order on it.
Okay,
And they are not the appealing authority to enforcement orders. They said that the enforcement order is in regard to the original order of conditions. They are well within their right to submit a new order of conditions. And if you love this and you approve it, it would trump the enforcement order. And,
well, that's what I would say. I mean,
right,
right. So.
if this gets accepted, it would
Right.
trump the enforcement order.
And that's essentially, we're trying to be responsive to the enforcement order, but we're trying to do it in a manner. So the other thing, let's just pretend for a minute that things were done right. And the applicant, before they said, hey, we want to pay the old order is still open. The thing that we've done was sit back and ask you for an amended order of conditions. Now, I would also say that,
But wouldn't
I
the
would also
amended
say-
order of conditions be an increase to the
yeah,
resource
but if
area?
it complied with the performance standards of the act, you could have
could have
approved. an
denied
amendment.
They
the,
could have,
Right.
right.
You could have denied it,
Accepted
but
Or denied based off of.
That's true.
increase to a
Right.
resource area.
that's right. But if it complied with the performance standards of the Wetlands Protection Act, you could have approved the amended order. I will also say that we've done this on several projects recently in central Massachusetts. And we've used that exact process with projects that are underway with an active order of conditions. And DP has said to file a new order in spite of the fact that there was already an existing one open and hasn't been completed.
Yeah, they
So-
didn't tell me that you couldn't do it. They
Yeah,
said it's well
you
within
know,
your right.
and
to
they've
do it.
advised us to do it that way.
But
And now you overlay the issue of this is an after the fact filing, and I understand the position that we're putting you in. I want to say it out loud. It's an after the fact filing. We get it. But if you assume for the moment that even if the project was approved, built exactly the way that you said it, we got a certificate of compliance on the project, nothing would preclude the applicant from coming before you with another filing to ask for additional, paved area.
Correct.
So there's got to be a happy medium. The answer can't be pull out the pavement if we think that there's a way that we can get, approved, additional pavement in there, because it just would, if there's a way we can approve that in accordance with the performance standards, we're not asking you to do things that aren't approvable by the Wetlands Protection Act. But if we find that there is a path forward for that, I guess we're asking that you not make us pull it out only to come back and ask you to put it back on.
I agree, but I think what this board, and if I'm not speaking for you, then correct me, but I think what this board is two parts to that. There's you saying what you're going to do and then doing it.
Yeah, that's,
And then what happened before is you said what you were going to do, not you personally, I don't know who, the whole team. And then it didn't get done. So then
Understood.
there's some concern of this board because we represent conservation.
yeah, can't deny that.
And so if we're continuing this hearing and you folks come back, I think what we would all be looking for is not just a plan of what you would do, but some reassurances that you would do it.
Mhm.
That would make it easier for us to agree to, as I said before, split it down the middle. I understand what you're trying to do, and if you can support it by the engineering, but I think
I wanted to kind of go off of that and say that there was an an order of conditions that wasn't followed. What's the assurance that this order of conditions would be followed? How do we know that the areas that are gonna be removed wouldn't be parked on?
And
Where like fences, boulders, something. I mean, there's nothing to say that he couldn't just plow it all in there, the snow, or park cars there. Even if the pavement was removed, there's no. I know you're trying to like, this is new, we need to look at it as new, but there is a lot of history that you presented to the board, and the history is being considered because the first order of conditions wasn't followed. What's the guarantee that the second will be?
But we don't have to even get there.
No.
That's how
Right.
we're viewing it, and we're saying if we continue it, Amanda, stop me if you're not agreeing with me, but if we continue it, the next time we come back, maybe just bring that with the explanation of, hey,
Mhm.
this is our NOI, it's our notice of this is what we intend to do, and this is how we're gonna assure you that we're gonna do it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I'll rely on Katie and Ron for that.
I have just a quick question, Jessica, just to what you had said about that, because I do not know the answer to this.
Yeah.
So he is only allowed to park cars where it is paved?
Nope.
No.
Because you just said, what is to say he doesn't park cars there?
Well, because currently he's parking cars there because there's pavement there.
Correct, but what if it was a permeable surface? Is he not allowed to put a car on the permeable?
What
surface,
about
or
the whole thing? with-
impermeable surface? I apologize.
Yeah.
Verbiage.
There is no guarantee. So as a conservation commission, we are looking for something to protect the wetlands so that cars aren't parked there and that they maybe leak fluid that gets into the groundwater.
Okay, so again, what I'm saying is he's only allowed to park cars where it's paved to be able to do that.
Nope, it's his property. Right? You can park them wherever. Right? So what's? to
As
say-
long as it doesn't violate the Wetland Protection Act. 'Cause that's all we do. That's what we enforce. We enforce.
No,
this
I
federal
understand
law.
that. I guess I was.
Yeah.
I was-
Well, the pavement's there, that's where he's parking the cars. If the pavement is removed, what's to say he isn't gonna still park the cars there? Where the pavement was removed. Right, cause isn't that the point of removing the pavement so that the cars aren't parked there? So that the rainwater goes through, so it recharges the wetlands. So that there's snow storage, so that there's all this, and that's not gonna happen if there's cars parked where the snow storage should be.
Understand.
So
I mean,
that's why I said, like, maybe like fences, boulders, I don't know, something that would delineate that this is, a recharge area, snow storage, or something.
well, if we put
Not
boulders, we can't put snow.
But maybe in the back,
Or-
but maybe in the back or or inside or a split roof. I don't know. I'm not the engineer, but to Christoph's point, looking for some assurance that the order of conditions would be followed because the first one wasn't. What is the assurance that the second one would?
So, if,
But to your point,
No, if we want to continue it. we
but
can
to Amanda's
continue.
point, it has to comply with the law.
Greg, are you good if I was to continue this meeting now? Cause that's the next motion that I would make.
Yeah, I mean, I would appreciate that. I mean, I understand you might be in your legal right to push this off to make a determination but I guess I would appreciate it if you would continue. You can't close it because you don't have a file number. So we're not asking you to do that, but
So it's everyone's in agreement that it can.
yeah, and
So they
I
can't
understand.
close it without a file number per Mass DEP.
well, that's what I'm saying. You can't really, you can't act, you certainly can't act favorably on it. I guess I prefer you didn't act You didn't act at all and just continued it, if that's, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Then I'll make a motion that we
You
can,
cannot because there's an open motion.
Right.
We
Yeah,
have an
that's,
open motion on the floor to reject.
I will withdraw my motion.
There we
we appreciate that. And I know you haven't seconded the withdrawal yet, but I guess I want to say out loud, I understand what you're saying. And I appreciate your commentary on that. And we will, relative to mistakes were made, and we'll, we can't, we don't have a good, we can't counteract that. So we appreciate it, and we're point noted, and we will, we'll take those to heart.
I'll
And
second
it-
Amanda's motion
Well,
to withdraw.
Okay,
Go.
discussion. I'll wait till discussion.
So we have a withdraw by Amanda, seconded by Christoph. Now a discussion on withdrawing.
Well, the issue I have is they came in with a plan. The plan was approved.
Yep.
They didn't come back for an amendment. And they're in violation of the plan that they had their engineer do and what they wanted, and they went outside of that. With that being said, this sets a very bad
I think
precedent.
we ought to wait for the DEP number and see what else the state has got to
Well,
say.
I would like to finish. This sets a very bad
Yeah.
precedence.
Yeah.
For certain, that people can come in with a plan, not come back, revise it, have an amendment, willy-nilly do what they want, and then we're supposed to forgive. This is where I have an issue. Because if one does it, the next person doesn't, said, well, you let that person do this.
Well-
This makes it very, very difficult.
You set a precedent.
It sets a bad precedence, a very bad precedence, and I can guarantee you that and we can continue it, but it will, someone else will see this, they'll take advantage of it. They'll use these, this particular case.
Hmm.
And they're gonna go, well, you did it for them.
But we didn't do it for them. We put
I'm
an
just,
enforcement, we put an enforcement order
Right.
on it. We did,
Right.
we,
But by letting, if what I'm saying, looking at a set of plans where there's already an order of conditions with an enforcement order, changing the plans with a whole new notice of intent, when the first order of conditions hasn't been satisfied, to say the least, it has an enforcement order, what people are gonna do can be exactly what has happened here.
I think what the engineer was trying to say is that this is basically a way to address the enforcement order. Because he's redesigning it based on our comment
But
of an
your
enforcement
enforcement order,
order.
which was unanimously signed by all 5 of you, specifically said to just rip out the pavement and to follow the original plans. And so the only 2 ways to get out of that is to satisfy the enforcement order, and then the local commission lifts it, or the applicant has to appeal to Superior Court, because Mass DEP is not a appealing authority for an enforcement order.
But what Greg was saying was that he's gone through this process a few times. We do,
But you do understand what I'm saying
understand what
about
you're saying.
setting a
understand what
really
you're
bad
saying.
precedent?
Oh, yeah.
I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, I think what the applicant is trying to do is to take our enforcement order, take the information from that and make the site better and prove it to us through engineering.
Better for conservation, though?
Yeah.
Stuff?
Right, well, we're not here today looking at this because they're the ones who made the mistake or they were wrong. They went against their own plans that we approved, is what I'm saying.
Right.
And I think that, this just sets an example for other people to do the same thing. If we do not stick with the original order of conditions.
Yep.
That's just my opinion.
Yep.
Okay.
And it worries me that someone else will take this as an example and go, Well, they did it, so why can't we do it?
Yes.
Still on discussion.
I know this is completely out of order, but to kind of come back to that, Joanne, I appreciate it, and I totally understand that. After we got the first letter, if we were to come back and have done these plans at that point, before the enforcement, I'm assuming that would have taken out and I don't know the answer to that. Would that have kind of delayed the enforcement if we had come back at that point? And I'm only asking that question because I think that this was maybe a little bit of my ignorance, and or a little bit of direction, from not knowing how to properly answer two different letters that I received. Because we received one from the building inspector and then one from you, Jessica. I came in and asked the question. I actually emailed Lori Rita, which I probably should, and I know we had a quick discussion. I probably should have copied you on it. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm new to this. I don't know the processes. I don't know the forms. So when I had talked to Lori, I said, we would like to work with you guys and appeal these letters to, try to move forward and do something of this sort, to try to appease everybody, to maybe attempt to keep some of this pavement if possible, is what we were trying to do. Therefore, I had put in that appeal to the zoning board, which is what I was told was the next step. We were waiting for that meeting, and then in that time frame, we got the enforcement. So it wasn't that we were ignoring that you guys had put that letter up. I honest and faithfully thought that us putting that appeal in was dealing with both letters to try to come before you guys. I know that doesn't stop that we have an enforcement, that we're trying to do another NOI, that anything moving forward. But I just wanted you to understand that it wasn't because we were trying to say, oh no, guys, we're not doing this. We're not ripping up this pavement. We were trying to come before you with possibly a compromise and not realizing that it seemed to you, Jessica, that we were basically ignoring what you guys said, which was not my intent. It's kind of what I thought that was the proper steps to take. And it was kind of the direction that I was pointed towards. And I had no other way of knowing that I needed to do something different.
Well, the process really that should have happened is you should have contacted the commission before the pavement went down where you wanted to extend it and come in with revised plans. We would have looked at it and approved it or not approved it or conditioned it so that your project could move forward.
So, can I add to that? You actually did come back to the commission at one point in time for a minor modification request to move a tree that was near a telephone pole and move it to the front. So the process was actually done like once before from the original plans that were submitted, came to the board with a minor modification request. They moved one tree to the front. We still got 6 trees. It's minor. We'll do it. We already knew of the process to change the plans within it. Ron paved outside of the plans. And
Yep.
the compromise being now, really the compromise was right at the beginning when all of these boards gave you and your husband all of these plans, because it's in the 100-foot buffer zone. It's, it's closer to the side setback and all these pre-existing non-conforming use and blah, blah, and all this other stuff, because we all supported your husband, and we all support his small business in town, and the compromise, because that word has been coming out a lot. Compromise happened at the beginning when the order of conditions was given, and then the compromise happened again when we gave him a minor modification request. So the fact that the compromise is coming now after it's done is where the discussion is.
If I could piggyback off of that,
Yeah,
there is
no.
actually nothing in the Wetlands Protection Act that says we need to amend order of conditions. You have to follow the plans as they're submitted in the order of conditions as we gave them to you.
Well, respectfully, there's also nothing that says you can't amend an order of conditions. I mean, that happens all the time. I mean, it's just that's life in the construction industry. We understand the point you're saying. No one's refuting that we should have been here before the work was done. After the fact filings are awkward. Believe me, I get it. But I guess I just want to leave you with the thought that, that if you could just imagine that it was done correctly, we could still be before you with the exact same filing under either an amended order or a new order. We could literally have presented this exact filing that you have in front of you, in a completely non-controversial manner without, if it was done prior to any work being done. And it would have been the same thing that you're seeing now. And our contention is, and you have the right to review that with DEP's guidance, our contention is that what is shown on the plan complies still with the performance standards of the Wetlands Protection Act. So we understand that mistakes were made, it wasn't done correctly, and we're here and after the fact. But the bottom line is, that's why we filed the other order, not to get away with something. We did it so that we put a new filing fee in front of you, a whole new process, so that it's not that you're just arbitrarily saying to this applicant that could be a precedent setter, yeah, go ahead and do, let's strike a compromise. We're doing a whole new application as if it was a brand new filing, looking at it from the very beginning again, so that you can point to that, in future things and say that it's not a precedent. So I understand the point with precedent. Believe me, I used to sit on a conservation commission in my local town too. But the intention of the applicant is to try to make it right, to try to do it in a manner that is still approvable, but allows them to get something a little bit more than was originally proposed. And to do it in a manner that puts you in a position so that it doesn't set a precedent. And you guys, it's your prerogative to agree or disagree with that. But that, I just wanted to be forthcoming and say that is the intention of the applicant, is to try to get you in a position that allows you to approve it in a manner that doesn't set a precedent. And you can accept that or not, but I did want to say that.
What would you do with a continuance? Why are you appealing for that with this board?
Well, I'd like to see DB comments. I mean, I'd like to see, they're gonna have comments on it. They do on every other filing that we have. So, I mean, I'd like the opportunity to walk through the process. And I think it's fair to the applicant for you to see the comments too, because I think that if we can document compliance with the Wetlands Protection Act, it only seems fair that that to at least have your board consider the possibility of allowing this, again, provided that we can document to your satisfaction that it meets all of the requirements, to at least have your board consider that before you make a determination on whether or not to approve or deny it, or to accept it as effectively addressing the enforcement order or not.
So we're still in discussion
Yeah, we were still in.
of taking a vote on Amanda withdrawing her motion.
Yep.
So are we ready to take a vote on the withdrawing of Amanda's motion? Or do you still have discussion, Joanne?
No, that's all I have to say.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll second the motion.
Well, we're not on my motion
Withdrawing.
yet. We're still on Amanda's motion.
We are, yeah, so we are on withdrawing the original motion to reject. So on a motion to reject, how would you vote, Christoph? I mean, sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry.
no, to
Let me
reject.
start. On a
Yeah.
motion to withdraw the
The
reject,
reject.
Yeah.
Right.
Aye.
Yes.
George. Steve,
Yes.
Amanda,
Yes.
and Joanne.
Yes.
Okay, so, so now we have no motion on the table and we're all just hanging out, so.
Yay.
So now we have no motion on the table. So now what do we want to do from here? You can reject, you can accept, you can continue.
We can't accept without a file number.
Again, I called Mass DEP and you can, but you definitely don't have to per Greg's
I
comments.
don't want you to do that.
They don't want you to do
What?
that. They
No.
want you to receive the comments, but it is in your purview because there is an enforcement order on the original.
Okay. What do you think, Amanda?
Where you at, Amanda?
honestly, I think it should be rejected because there's an enforcement order. This isn't gonna fix it.
And they're gonna come back.
From the way that Greg is describing it, though, it sounds like this approach comes around to basically the same thing, but it's maybe an easier procedural approach. Because what's the procedural approach if we reject it tonight? What is that?
Then,
They have
then the
to go-
enforcement order is intact, and per conservation, they have to follow the original plans as submitted. They have
Oh.
other boards that they have to satisfy too.
Or go to court.
Right, or go to Superior Court, appealing the enforcement order.
Big decision.
You know,
It
if
is,
it's,
we're really
it's, you
between
know,
a rock and a hard
if
place
it's
here.
continued or accepted, they still have to go through planning board and back to ZBA. Is that correct?
Planning board,
And they still have to
For
have a
site plan
plan.
review, because you'll have a new
Yeah.
plan.
planning board for sure. I don't know about zoning.
And
And
the,
zoning board, you still have to go back within
Well, we'd have
60
to-
days.
Yeah, we have to close out the, yes. You're right.
and the new plan still has to satisfy us and has to have Mass DEP comments. And has to meet the state regulation on conservation. So that's what I'm saying, kind of ends up in the same place. It
Well-
just doesn't immediately,
Solve it.
it doesn't immediately solve it. It takes more time, but in the end, it works a way around just getting a decision that's good with DEP, good with the applicant, and good with this conservation board.
I mean,
I just, if I may, Mr. Chair. Uh, Continuing the meeting doesn't mean that you're going to approve it. We're not asking you to play your hand. We're just asking to see if we can have time to see what the DEP comments are. And to just have time to do that. To let you get out to the site. I think we're going to do it again on Wednesday with the other three. We understand that from the applicant's standpoint, there's still a risk. We understand, we now we have the commentary. That's why we wanted to be here tonight. We have the commentary. We've heard what you've said, and we can't refute it. But at least we have it now and we can digest it. But I guess we would appreciate it if you would be willing to continue it on that.
So I actually have additional information to add, which is, Greg and I were at the, and actually two other conservation members were at the zoning board of appeals meeting that they appeared to. And Greg said the same thing there, which he appealed to the zoning board for more time and for a continuance. And part of it was because for the zoning board wanted to know what the Conservation Commission would determine for the site, since there was an enforcement order. So, you know, playing out all three scenarios, right? So if these plans get accepted tonight, then Greg can go back to zoning board and be like, and say to zoning board that conservation loves it. It's great. And then zoning board would be like, oh, that's great. We can withdraw. We're good to go. If he goes back with conservation denied it, then the zoning board can then act within their 60 days. And then if we continue it, zoning board is not going to know what to do because they don't have any determination from conservation. And it was specifically requested to be continued from zoning board so that a determination was reached by conservation. And there are two other members that were at that meeting that heard that. So
Two other members of conservation?
Dave
Who?
and Amanda and I were all at that meeting. And the zoning board did grant 60 days.
I think it was 60. And
so
we would have to go back to them and say that. the
I asked you
process is done.
what, you know, would continuing this,
Well, I guess my contention is you don't have enough information. That's my contention to you. You may think you do, and that's fine, but my contention is, you could take it or leave it, is that I don't think you have enough information to act either way. So we would have to report that back to the zoning board of appeals. I get it. It's a domino effect here. We have one board that's waiting to hear from another board, another commission.
but this
We
is
will have
what-
to take
this
that
is
in.
What's happened before and in Templeton, where one board doesn't want to act until another board acts.
Yeah. But
Like
the-
zoning board isn't going to want to act
Yeah.
until conservation does, and conservation.
In this case, I think it's actually proper, though. I think.
Yeah.
You know,
do do you have an opinion on this?
It's not good.
Your opinion or your, what do you mean?
If I vote, I'm gonna deny it.
Are you
Bring
gonna
it
make
back to the original.
George?
I think that'd be the best thing to do, because of all the things, what DP has already said. And what the zoning board said, you know, and it'll. Figure it out one way or the other. No, we have to decide which way we wanna go, do we wanna just,
I think the path forward that's described by Greg and by the applicant seems reasonable. And I think we don't lose any ability to control the process. We don't lose any ability for Mass DEP to talk through it. And I don't think it's actually helpful to push them. We all know what happened. It's already over. So now we're looking for a path forward.
Right.
And I don't think taking 2 steps back to go 1 step forward is good for anyone. And the path that Greg described seems like taking a step forward, but still very cautiously, with all of the ability for our comments in the future, getting Mass DEP's comments, and we're not committing to anything tonight.
But also to Christoph, like, you could also not like those plans. You could actually tell the applicant, like, the next time they come over with an NOI to, you know, propose this or that or the other thing for okay to park here or not okay to park there.
No impervious surface.
No impervious surface here, or, you know, I don't know, less pavement off of, State Road or whatever. This isn't the only, you know what I mean, path forward. This is just the one that they want.
That's right.
That's what they're
Right,
proposing.
That's what they're proposing.
But the commission can always
Right,
Yeah.
That's
I
absolutely,
understand.
which
That's
is
why-
another reason why we.
That's what I'm saying, the process that Greg proposes does not,
It
like
gives-
you say, it still gives us plenty of opportunity to
That's
speak.
right.
and to
That's right.
Comment, and there's no guarantee that we have to like the plan as it comes in, which is why I said 15 minutes ago, I think if they are coming back and if we do continue this, then we're definitely gonna be looking for not only a plan that works according to Mass DEP, but also an assurance that they're going to do it. And they understand that, I think, clearly. So I'm making a motion that we continue the NOI that has been, new NOI that's been filed for 280 State Road for the construction of the commercial building to our November meeting.
I'll second the continuance.
any further discussion on a continuance? Okay, on a motion to continue to November, how do you vote, Christoph? George,
yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Amanda,
Yes.
and Joanne.
Yes.
Thank you for hearing us out.
Oh, thank you. See you next month. I don't see you before.
Multiple
See you
fronts.
next
We'll
month.
probably see you in a few days. Yeah. Thanks.
That's November 18th.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Katie, that's November 18th.
Oh, I don't know.
Son's birthday. I won't
Oh, I'm
forget that
sorry.
day.
Oh.
That's my son's. No, 19th. is my son's birthday.
That's his best friend's birthday.
All right, can I get all the plans back, team?
Good night. Thank you,
Thank you very
appreciate it.
much. Okay, thank you.
All right, Mr. Andrews, would you like to read number 8? Bye, Greg.
Building number 8, another
Thank
one
you.
with no file. For an NOI. 66 Rainbow Drive, Templeton Fishing Gun Club. Consideration of a 20 by 20 foot deck within the 60-foot zone of the wetland known as Partridgeville Road.
Can I get a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Good.
Roll call vote to open the public hearing for 66 Rainbow. How do you vote? Christoph?
Aye.
George?
Yeah.
Dave?
Yes.
Amanda?
Yes.
Joanne?
Yes.
We are open, and then I am going to read the legal notice. 66 Rainbow Drive at the Templeton Fishing Game Club, notice of intent. Notice is hereby given in accordance with the Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, that a public hearing will be held on a notice of intent filed by Charles Carroll of Templeton. Project location is 66 Rainbow Drive at the Templeton Fishing Game Club in Templeton. Map 4-11, parcel T, F, and G.66. Description of the request includes the construction of a 20 by 20 foot deck with the within the 50-foot buffer zone of a wetland known as Partridgeville Pond. The hearing will be held on October 21st, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. at Templeton Town Hall. Any person wishing to be heard concerning the above application should appear at the time and place indicated above. The notice of intent is available for public review at the Development Services Office, Room 3, 160 Patriots Road, during regular office hours. The NOI is also available upon request from J. Case at templetonma.gov, George Andrews, Chair of Templeton Conservation Commission. Again, no site visit and no file number. We would be looking for a motion to continue.
We already know the deck's up. but I-
Yes, so this is in a response to a violation letter that you all issued, requesting the applicant to put in a filing, and here it is. So, waiting for Mass DEP comments on this one.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to continue.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor of continuing this public hearing for 66 Rainbow to November, how do you vote? Christoph? George?
Aye.
Dave?
Yes.
Amanda?
Yes.
Joanne?
Yes.
All right. Good on that one. Mr. Andrews,
Yes.
number 9.
Hmm?
Number 9 is agent updates.
Oh, agent update.
Agent updates. I would like to ask the commission, for a motion to certify the emergency cert for 15 Club Road. This was the, campsite that is falling into the pond.
Yes, follow this way.
And, we gave the campsite on,
Pictures, right?
I did send you pictures.
I actually looked at those.
It's,
Yeah.
so he does have a building permit right now, and he is actively working on it. And just per protocol, I'm just looking to certify in a public meeting, that emergency cert. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Oh, everybody. How do you vote on certifying the emergency cert for 15 Club? Christoph? George?
Aye.
Dave?
Yes.
Amanda?
Yes.
Joanne?
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay, my only other update is really a question. I received note, that, residents are putting leaves in town property wetlands, and I was wondering, is there a certain quantity or volume of leaves that is considered harmful to the wetlands?
There is no filling wetlands at all.
I know, so like, if they blow in there, they blow in there, but I mean, if
Then they're
people-
in trouble.
if they're dumping them in there,
Yeah.
I ask because, we've in different configurations been on site walks together where people want to, fill in or grade their yard or backyard, right? And Susie, who wants to buy 3 bags from Home Depot to fill in, some potholes in her backyard is less impactful than somebody that wants to get 2 graves of fill from, concrete trucks, whatever, So I'm just asking, is there a certain level that's harmful and concerning, or is it all harmful and concerning?
Well, this is public,
It's town property.
it's
wetlands.
town property, but is it, just citizens doing this or,
Yes.
and
It's not,
who oversees that particular
So,
area?
I'll give you as much as I can give you, but I don't feel it's appropriate that I, disseminate, the resident who's doing it, because.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, but it is on, Templeton Town property, and there are wetlands on it, and, one of, the town directors, witnessed, a resident dumping their own leaves into the town wetlands.
The
Um,
official Massachusetts state law is that it's illegal to dump leaves, grass, or any debris in a wetland or a buffer zone without a permit. Come
and-
see us to get a permit.
Well, and I would kind of think that people shouldn't be dumping anything on town property.
And there's recently been, new signs erected in that specific location that says no dumping. Because, we had asked, at certain locations, like after we went to Templeton Fish and Game Club at the entrance or other ones that, the DPW director, helped us with some no dumping signs and some no dumping, spraying areas, and he had done that, and, this specific location is where one of the signs is. So with that, knowing that, what is my role as your agent to deal with
Mhm.
people dumping in wetlands? Is it,
My personal opinion is that they get a violation notice the first time, and the second time we start ticketing them and impose fines.
Well, and, but I don't know if you can send a violation notice to someone that doesn't own the property.
but they're doing the action there,
Right, but
violating
I,
wetlands on somebody else's property?
I would think that it first and foremost would be a police
Okay.
issue. Especially if there's signs,
Okay.
because you can give them a violation notice, but so
They might-
what?
Yeah. they
It's
might
not their
care.
land.
Yeah.
They're gonna throw it away. It's gonna mean nothing. It's not attached to anything. So I would think that,
Is it,
It's a
like
police-
us?
It's a police enforceable act.
yes,
At least if the person is given a visit by the police, maybe he will not do it again.
Okay, and because
Right.
it's town property
and
Because
it's
town property.
posted.
and it's posted on town property, not to do that,
And you know who this is, we don't. So
Yeah,
if
no,
it,
no,
if it's a
that's fine.
99-year-old
That's fine.
man
It
who's been
doesn't-
doing it for 75 years.
No, he's only lived there 3 years.
Okay, well,
I know.
but then obviously whoever is talking to him can use some discretion, and the police are good at that.
Mhm.
I mean, so they could just say, hey,
Okay.
you know, there's a
Yeah.
sign, I mean, it would be like throwing a coffee cup where there's a sign that says no littering. I mean, it's kind of idiotic if you
It
just
is.
say,
Right.
hey, I mean,
Right.
there's a sign here, you're doing it,
I
please
didn't,
don't
I
do
didn't
it.
wanna go like 0 to 100 real quick, so that's
Right.
why, I said that I would ask the commission,
Yeah.
um,
But whereas there is a mass state law, well, why are you doing it?
Yeah, I wonder because it's Templeton town property and somebody else filled our wetlands, are we responsible for cleaning it out? Yeah, Amanda's shaking her head.
The answer is yes, we are.
Very possible.
Yeah,
And also, after a while, leaves, now what? Chunks of cement,
right,
maybe some
Right.
dirt, and the next time,
right,
you don't know what's in the bottom of that wheelbarrow.
yeah.
Is the town able to fine, like they have signs, if you litter, you can be
Fine.
fined so
So
much?
I did read that the Templeton bylaws does have a fining system for the Conservation Commission to be able to fine certain violations.
That's why I
That-
said
that-
it's a policeable.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I believe the police are supposed to issue those tickets as well for conservation issues.
Okay,
Yeah.
We can look into that.
okay,
But I think it would be, it's my opinion that it should start with a conversation from one human to another, because guaranteed the guy that is,
Well,
he's
the-
not thinking about it in the same way that
Well,
we are.
the-
He doesn't have as much knowledge
right, so
as,
step one, conversation.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, yes,
Like-
conversation, a warning not to do it again. And just so anybody who's watching knows, that's like a terrible and awful and heartbreaking way to spread invasive species downstream.
I,
So definitely do not dump your yard clippings into waterways.
okay. Okay,
You
well,
know,
thanks.
maybe
Yeah.
even the chief of police, maybe he could, have a conversation
Yeah.
with this person.
Yeah.
Start there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
You're
thanks,
actually-
guys.
You're actually better off talking to Sergeant Hall.
Yeah. With that said, number 10, chair and member comments. Do you have any further comments, Amanda?
No,
No, I hear Radley.
Any further comments, Christoph, about anything?
Not tonight, no, thank you.
No, I'm all set.
Chair,
No, I'm set.
No,
Dave, Joanne, anything else?
No.
Nothing else going on. Our next meeting is Monday, November 18th at 6:30 PM, where we have a bunch of continuances.
Yeah. We got a bunch of contingencies.
Anybody want to make a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second motion.